We of course know that Benedict Cumberbatch is going to have a huge supporting role in Spider-Man No Way Home and the future of the multiverse. Now the actor himself opens up a little bit about the high praise in regards to everything that has to do with No Way Home, and specifically the director himself, calling Jon Watts a genius. So while talking about multiple projects and his career with Variety, Benedict Cumberbatch was asked a little about his upcoming Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness and working with Sam Raimi. But Cumberbatch, being a respectable person, he wanted to focus on the next project and the next director he's working with in terms of the MCU. So he shifted the conversation over to Spider-Man No Way Home and the trailer, the reception, talking about it, and then they got on the subject of the film. And he says that without going into it, that the films so far have been something that's very different and special and he really likes. But when he looks at everything that's happening with the new film, the direction they're going, the story, the ideas at play, that he looks at Jon Watts as a genius for what he's been able to do, the story they've crafted, and everything that happens in the film. But of course he says he can't spoil that because we gotta wait and find out what the film is like for ourselves. And he did also talk a little bit about what it's like to work on a set with Jon Watts and Tom Holland, and what it's like to just kind of hang out, and how everybody was having a good time. It felt like they were all friends, they were all getting along together, and that he was one of the quote-unquote older people on there working with these younger people, but that he had a really good time and that everybody kind of bounced off of one another very well. And again, he credits Jon Watts for this, for making such a opening and inviting environment and being able to juggle so much at once, and the changing landscape of what the film was, and how they have to work with, of course, the other elements of the MCU and the shifting, I guess, entire universe that's sort of been presented to them. Because obviously, we know that Doctor Strange was going to be somewhat of a smaller part in this film until it changed into a giant multiverse film, so they had to naturally account for that, and he's sort of addressing that here in terms of how Jon Watts, like Sam Raimi, was able to take what was done before and already go, you know what? We got to change and go in a new direction, and apparently he was able to do it very well and not let that affect anybody on set. So this just honestly makes me more excited, because sometimes when this happens, you hear and it's like, oh, it was frantic, it was hell on the set, we were running around, we didn't know what we were doing. And it's like, oh, thanks, yeah, good job, Joss, good job.